DAL has two new Cyclone props. These two props are awesome because I have been begging them for this one in particular for a while now, the twin blade. So this is the Cyclone 50/50 by 3 and 50/50 by 2 twin blade. The tri-blade is about 5.5 grams and this twin blade is 4.3 grams. And here is the evolution of the Cyclone blade. The first blade is on top, the first one they made, 50/45, and then the 50/46 in the middle, and then the 50/50 on bottom. You can see that the bottom one has a little bit more of an aggressive scoop, but the other two, and all of them are basically the same otherwise. You can see the profiles are identical. The weight also goes up as you go down the row. So the first one was 4.3 grams. I mean 5.3 grams. And then the second one was 5.4 grams. And the third one is 5.5 grams. And that would make sense because the scoop is a little bit more bent on each one. So the first one doesn't really have much of a scoop. The second one has this bend in the middle of it. And the third one has a much more aggressive bend on it. And it's so bent that it looks broken almost. And that bend takes more plastic. So it would make sense that it gains 1/10 of a gram as you go up the row. In general, the first Cyclone blade was really good and it had a really nice feel to it. And the next one also had a very good feel to it, had just a lot more power. The third one is similar in the sense that it has a very, very similar feel. Maybe a little bit more grip feely, but a lot more power still. And it uses a lot more amps. So you can consider that. So this prop is probably good for a lower kV motor. The twin blade is very much the same and it feels very much similar, except that it has 2 blades instead of 3, so you get a little bit less thrust, but you could probably spin it up higher with less amps because you have less drag. Let's look at the tri-blade flying now. If you've flown a Cyclone blade, you've probably had this feeling that it feels really, really easy to turn, easy to give it inputs. Like as soon as you touch the pitch or roll, the craft responds almost dramatically. This kind of feeling gives me the idea that it's very crisp in the air, like I get a really, really sharp response when I'm flying. The recent props that we've had are actually so well designed and so good that, I mean, I don't know if they're well designed, but I know that they're so good, they're good enough to the point that I can't really predict fully what it feels like to fly them before flying them. Before, the props I was looking at looked more like artistic drawings, so it was really easy to predict how it will probably perform. These new ones all have vortex management at the tip. They all have a various changing airfoil. It's a dynamic airfoil as it goes down the blade, and they all have a very distinct performance profile. They all feel very, very different. Now let's look at the twin blade version. The twin blade version feels very much the same. It feels almost identical. I can't really tell if it's going faster. I actually don't know at all actually if it's going faster in any way, but I do feel like it has a little bit less amp draw because it has two blades and I can like hold the throttle punch longer without worry. The grip is very similar, it's just a touch less, and the power is sort of similar, but it's definitely a touch less. You have 2 blades instead of 3. I think this twin blade is going to be really good on 2700 or 2800 kV motors. And it's really nice that they made it because we really do need more options in the twin blade. And I think it's a really good twin blade option. This Cyclone blade feels really, really grippy. It feels really good in the air. And I'm going to have a video comparing this Cyclone 50/50 with the Emax A-band prop and also the Gemfan 50/51 very soon. But for now, let's just stick to this prop. In general, the 50/50 blade feels a little bit more grippy. It does feel definitely a little bit more grippy. Feels a lot more powerful, and that's about it. It's the same blade. It has the same general flight performance and feeling, except it has a little bit more power. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick little breakdown of the blades. You're going to see the description of how each one is on the video, and this is going to be kind of short just because the next video is going to be much more interesting about the 3 different props and how they perform and how they compare to each other. So that's all for now, and I'll let the video continue so that you can read the rest of the notes if you want. Don't forget to floss.